Reebok, Angel Reese are taking shots at Caitlin Clark, using her as promo. Angel Reese, let's be clear here. Let's just be all the way clear here. Angel Reese is a solid basketball player. Angel Reese 100% has benefited from attaching herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn. Her podcast, the first 3 episodes, all the clips promoting was bringing up Caitlin Clark. It was bringing up Caitlin Clark and all of the promo. People wanted to know what she was going to say. She used Caitlin Clark as promo.
Imagine planning the biggest moment of your career, only to watch it implode live on national television. That's exactly what happened to Angel Reese during the WNBA All-Star Weekend. Ticket prices cratered by 48% overnight. Hotels emptied. Sponsors panicked. And Reese is aggressive. "I'm in your city marketing blitz?" It backfired so spectacularly, fans are calling it the cringiest stunt in sports history.
Angel Reese, I'm in your city. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. Post it on Instagram. There's about 15 fans there and Reebok put up a board. You would expect Reebok to put up a board. Let's never forget that when let's never forget the gigantic Caitlin Clark Nike billboard in Chicago. Let's never forget that. So if Reebok didn't put up a board for Angel Reese.
But why did a shoe campaign trigger this meltdown? And what does it reveal about the WNBA's dangerous dependence on one superstar? Stick around. We're dissecting every shocking twist, including the ugly truth Reese never saw coming. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button. This story is about to expose realities the league doesn't want you to see.
This is a fake one-sided rivalry. We got Angel Reese taking more shots at Caitlin Clark unnecessarily. You in Indiana having a great time partying. We see all the clips. Why can't you just do your thing? Why can't you just do your thing?
This wasn't just another all-star game. The WNBA orchestrated this weekend like a blockbuster premiere. Indianapolis transformed into a stage set for glory. ESPN hyped it. Nike designed special editions. Restaurants booked out for months. Why? Because the script wrote itself. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. The rivalry that captivated America. Clark, the hometown hero in Indiana, fresh off shattering NCAA records. Reese, the trash-talking phenom who'd made "You Can't See Me" her signature. The arena sold out in hours. Tickets averaged $262, destined to be the most expensive in league history.
But can Sarah Spain and the media stop going out there and saying that like the Caitlin Clark needs to do something to stop all this, when it is very clear this is a one-sided beef, and the one-sided beef is not from Caitlin Clark?
Corporate sponsors bet millions on this clash. Social media buzzed with countdowns. Even casual fans circled July 20th. This was supposed to be women's basketball's mainstream breakthrough moment, the day the sport finally erupted into the cultural conversation. But then, silence. A single injury report tore the script to shreds. Just days before tip-off, the news hit like a gut punch. Caitlin Clark would miss the entire All-Star weekend, a re-aggravated groin injury, the same one that sidelined her weeks earlier. Social media flatlined.
It's a story we have been following throughout the past 2 days, surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
ESPN cut to breaking news graphics. Fever fans who booked flights to Indianapolis? Stunned. This wasn't just a player absence. It was an economic detonation. Within hours, ticket prices on TickPick nosedived from $121 to $64, a 48% free fall. Hotels saw cancellations flood in. Restaurant prepared for March Madness level crowds suddenly had empty tables. Sponsors scrambled. Reebok's Reese campaign, Nike's Clark merch, all now dangling over a void.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
The league's own data tells the story. When Clark missed regular season games in May, road game prices dropped 47% in Washington and 71% in Chicago. But this, a marquee event having its value overnight. One analyst put it brutally: the main attraction vanished. Suddenly, nobody cared about the undercard.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
While Clark rehabbed, Angel Reese launched her strike. Reebok plastered Indianapolis with billboards screaming, "I'm in your city. Walk in your trap. Take over your trap." Her Instagram stories blared bank refreshes. "Take over your trap track." Shoes promoted. Hashtags trending. Reese even doubled down in interviews. "This is my city now."
Is you continue to take shots at her, and then when them shots get fired back, nobody likes it. We don't have no videos of Caitlin Clark really taking shots at Angel Reese. Look at what Angel Reese and Reebok are doing for views. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. This is promo they're doing in Indianapolis, where Caitlin Clark plays. That is a clear shot. It's a clear shot. Like I said, this is a fake rivalry. I think you've won one game versus Caitlin Clark. You've never won in Indiana at all. It's just like you continue to attach yourself to her at every turn and use her as promo.
On paper, bold. In reality, a catastrophic misread. Fans immediately called it out. Launching in Clark's backyard while she's injured wasn't confidence. It was opportunism. Social media erupted. Comments ranged from classless to, "You've never even won in Indiana." Even Reese supporters cringed at the timing. Why? Because unlike Reese's narrative, Clark never fired shots. Not in press conferences. Not on podcasts. The rivalry was entirely one-sided.
Caitlin Clark has never said a negative word about Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark has never said a negative word, or like, to be honest, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, like, she did show it by her actions. Showed it by her actions. She didn't need to say, "I'm taking over Chicago." She did, however, go and put up 31 and 12, set a career high with 12 assists, be the only player in the history of the WNBA ever to have 31 and 12 in a game. She did, in fact, do that and then try to hype up the Chicago crowd. So it's like, fair enough, you want to say, "Oh, Caitlin Clark did this," then show it with your actions. Go and win MVP. Go and win MVP. Don't just be like, "This is my city." Don't just come in and be like, "This is my city." You've never won a game. Has she won a game in Indiana? I don't think she's ever won a game in Indiana. I actually do not think she has won a pro game in Indiana.
And now, Reese was shadowboxing an empty ring. The campaign designed to hype her signature shoe instead highlighted a bitter truth. Without Clark as a foil, Reese's takeover felt hollow, forced, like a play for relevance when the spotlight had already dimmed. Fan backlash. The backlash was instant and vicious. Twitter threads dissected Reese's campaign as desperate. TikTok compilations juxtapose her boasts against empty seats at all-star events. One viral comment nailed it. Talking trash to someone on crutches isn't rivalry, it's bullying.
Now with Reebok she's using, this is nonstop. She has attached herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn, and she has benefited. Let's be clear here. Yes, she does receive backlash. She does receive negativity, but she has benefited greatly. She has made millions of dollars off of attaching herself to Caitlin Clark and using her to make her brand bigger.
Even neutral observers question Reebok's strategy. Why roll out territorial dominance ads when your rival can't compete? Reese's response? Silence. Then more doubling down. She wore custom underestimated jerseys, posted defiant clips, ignored the optics. Meanwhile, Clark took the high road, posting supportive messages for all-stars. No subtweets, no clapbacks. The contrast was stark, and fans noticed. Comments flooded in, "Respect to Clark for rising above. Reese looks petty."
This is absolutely a one-sided rivalry. And we've got to say it like it is. Like, we can't say Caitlin needs to do this, Caitlin needs to do that. Let's be real. The only reason this is still a rivalry is because the other side of the rivalry won't stop it. And by the way, it is extremely beneficial for Angel Reese to be in this rivalry.
But the real dagger? Data Reese's podcast episodes promoting the rivalry spiked when Clark's name was in titles. Her Reebok deal finalized months after Clark's $28 million Nike signing. Even critics admit Reese's brand leans on Clark's shadow. As one analyst bluntly put it, she's made millions off a feud only she's fighting. The one-sided rivalry exposed. Let's be brutally honest, this rivalry is fabrication. Reese mentions Clark constantly, podcasts, ads, pressers. Clark, she praises teammates, talks strategy. When asked about Reese, she deflects, I focus on basketball. The numbers scream imbalance. Reese's social engagement soars when Clark's name trends. Her jersey sales, 5th in the league. Clark's are 1st. Even on court, Reese is 0-4 against Clark in Indiana. No wins. Ever. Yet Reese's narrative paints her as the underdog hero. The reality? Clark's silence isn't weakness. It's proof she doesn't need the drama. While Reese launches shoes with trap takeover slogans, Clark drops 31-point triple-doubles. While Reese battles ghosts, Clark builds a legacy, and fans are waking up. As one viral tweet put it, stop telling Clark to handle the beef. There is no beef, just Reese grilling alone. Ticket apocalypse. The numbers didn't lie. They screamed. When Caitlin Clark's injury announcement hit the wire, the free fall was instantaneous and brutal. TickPick's live pricing algorithms went into meltdown mode, a 48% nosedive in under 3 hours. Tickets that sold for $121 at noon were $64 by dinner time.
$121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. She is injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league.
But this wasn't just a dip. This was the sports equivalent of a stock market crash triggered by a single headline. The domino effect in real time. Hotels. The West in Indianapolis slashed prices from $399 per night to $229. Hyatt Place canceled 47% of All-Star Weekend reservations within 48 hours. Restaurants. St. Elmo Steakhouse, famous for Clark's post-game visits, reported 112 cancellations in one night. Local food truck vendors saw pre-orders drop 30%. Merchandise. Dick's Sporting Goods emailed 20% discount codes on WNBA jerseys a day after Clark's announcement. Arena pop-up shops reduced staffing by 50%. Why Clark equals economic gravity. Her impact defies every sports business model. Road game inflation. Feverway games average 4.2x higher ticket prices versus league average. Source. SeatGeek internal data. Viewership anchor. ESPN's Clark featured games draw 683K viewers. Non-Clark games average 162K. Social media attacks. Posts mentioning Clark generate 18.7x more engagement than other WNBA content. Zumpf Analytics. The vendor apocalypse. Maria Santos, owner of Hoosier Hoops souvenir stand outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, invested $22,000 in all-star inventory. We ordered special Caitlin t-shirts, mugs, everything. When news broke, our distributor stopped answering calls. Now I'm stuck with boxes no one wants. Similar stories echoed across 14 downtown businesses interviewed. Sponsor panic mode. Nike scrapped plans for a Clark-themed augmented reality experience at Monument Circle. State Farm replaced Clark versus Reese commercials with generic WNBA ads within 12 hours. Google Pixel canceled a planned halftime drone show worth $850,000. The psychological shift. Fans didn't just cancel, they rejected substitutes. When the league promoted C.I.A. Wilson and Brianna Stewart instead, Twitter responded, paid $400 for Clark's magic, not watching backups at a glorified scrimmage. Without 22, it's just a game that ignored us for 25 years. Data deep dive. Metric pre-injury, post-injury drop. Average Ticket price $262, $137, 47.7%. Secondary market listings 1,412, 3,887, plus 175%. Hotel occupancy downtown 98%, 61%, 37%. ESPN ad rate per 30s $42,500, $28,100, 34%. The hidden casualty future investment. Private equity firm Monarch Capital froze talks about a $150 million WNBA expansion team in Toronto. Clark proves the league's valuation is superstar dependent, their leaked memo stated. Without generational talents driving growth, the financial model collapses. Arena workers' reality. Janitorial staff at Gainbridge Fieldhouse saw hours cut by 60%. Concession worker Tanya Mitchell. They told us to expect triple overtime pay. Now I'm picking up Uber shifts to cover rent. Why Reese's campaign backfired economically. Her "I'm in your city" billboard suddenly felt tone deaf as Reebok's pop-up shop saw 70% less foot traffic than projected. Local radio giveaways for her shoes had 83% fewer entries. Hashtag Reese takeover peaked at 12K tweets, dwarfed by hashtag WNBA fail, 42K tweets. The fatal flaw exposed. The league marketed Clark versus Reese as a Magic versus Bird of Gen Z, but the data proved only Clark moved the needle. Reese's Chicago Sky games averaged 4,812 fans without Clark. With Clark, 10,117, a 110% spike. Clark's games without Reese still draw 9,845. Long-term fallout. 2025 season tickets. FIBA renewals dropped 19% post-All-Star. Sponsor clauses. Adidas added star player participation requirements in new deals. Player value gap. Clark's estimated annual economic impact, $82 million. Dwarfs Reese's, $19 million per Forbes. The unspoken truth. An anonymous Eastern Conference GM texted, "We used to laugh at Clark effect hype. Now, our owners are terrified. If she tears an ACL, half the league could fold. Why recovery is fragile, even when Clark returns." Casual fans now see the WNBA as Clark plus 11 nobodies. Corporate partners demand insurance policies for her availability. Scalpers avoid non-Clark games, killing secondary market liquidity. The silver lining? This crash finally forced the league to confront hard truths. Star power can't be manufactured through rivalries. Systemic investment in youth outreach is 20 years overdue. Players protesting pay must acknowledge who actually drives revenue. The ultimate irony. Angel Reese's billboard stayed up throughout the empty All-Star weekend. The final one near the airport featured her pointing defiantly with the slogan, "This is my house." On Sunday night, a vandal spray painted beneath it, "And it's empty. Where do you stand?" Were players right to protest, or did they misread the moment? Debate below. Backhand index pointing down. And if you want unfiltered sports analysis without the spin, hit subscribe. The air in Gainbridge Fieldhouse crackled with restless energy on July 19th. A palpable mix of disappointment and simmering frustration. Hours earlier, downtown Indianapolis hotels had slashed prices by 43%. Restaurants stood half empty. Ticket resellers hemorrhaged cash as $121 seats sold for $64. The catalyst? Caitlin Clark's groin injury had vaporized the All-Star weekend's economic momentum. Then, during player warmups, the final domino fell. One by one, WNBA stars pulled black shirts over their jerseys. The message screamed in white block letters, "Pay U.S. what you owe U.S." For Union President Nneka Agwamike, this was a righteous demand. For thousands of fans who'd spent fortunes attending a diminished event, it felt like a slap in the face. What happened next wasn't just a labor protest. It was a masterclass in catastrophic timing that exposed the fragile reality behind women's basketball's meteoric rise. Chapter 1. Anatomy of a PR disaster. The perfect storm. 3 factors collided to ignite the backlash. The economic freefall. Hotels reported $2.3 million in lost revenue from cancellations. Local vendors saw game day sales projections drop 68%. ESPN's ad inventory sold at 34% discount hours before tip-off. The salary perception gap, while fans saw Angel Reese's $1.2 million Reebok deal, Caitlin Clark's $28 million Nike contract, Aya Wilson's Gatorade commercials. Players emphasized rookie minimum salary, $64,154. 12-year veterans maxing at $241,900 $184. No charter flights for 82% of road games. The star power void. Arena workers whispered the uncomfortable truth. Concession lines didn't form until after warmups. Fans weren't there to see role players. They'd paid premium prices for Clark versus Reese. Chapter 2. Inside the protest playbook. The player's rationale. Agumike's core argument had merit. WNBA's $200 million annual revenue pre-2026. Players received just 9.3% versus NBA's 50% share. New $2.2 billion TV deal, 2026 plus, multiplies revenue 5x. Their demand seemed reasonable. Revenue sharing tied to league growth. Charter flights for all games. $500,000 average salary by 2028. The fatal miscalculation. Players failed to grasp fan psychology. I canceled my $800 hotel stay because Clark's out. Now millionaires in designer gear want more money? Read the room. At HoopsFan93, 19.2K likes. The disconnect crystallized in viral memes. A sinking Titanic labeled WNBA revenue, with players demanding bigger lifeboats. Scrooge McDuck diving into gold coins beside a minimum wage janitor sign. Chapter 3. The social media war zone. Protest supporters fired back. They built this league. Pay them. WNBA viewership up 354% since 2020. Jersey sales increased 756%. 18 of 20 franchise values doubled. Critics unleashed fury. You didn't build Clark's impact. Fever road game attendance. With Clark, 10,117. Without Clark, 4,812. Google search interest. Caitlin Clark, 18.7 M monthly. WNBA, 3.2 M monthly. The most damning reality. Role player salaries depend on revenue Clark generated. Protesting during her absence felt like biting the hand feeding them. Chapter 4. The ripple effect. Immediate fallout. Sponsor panic. State Farm paused jersey patch negotiations. Ticket collapse. 2025 fever season. Renewals dropped 19%. Arena worker impact. Janitorial hours cut 60% post-game. Long-term consequences. CBA negotiations stalled. Owners hardened stance, citing financial instability, fan trust erosion. Pay Us merch outsold player jerseys 3:1, proving controversy sells better than basketball. The Clark contrast. Her simple "we deserve more" tweet garnered 427K likes, more engagement than the entire protest. Chapter 5. The path to redemption. What players overlooked. True leverage requires acknowledging. The league lost $40 million in 2024. NBA subsidies cover 30% of operating costs. 72% of new fans came for Clark/Reese rivalry. A better approach. Had players. White Heavy checkmark donated protest shirt proceeds to hourly arena workers. White Heavy checkmark demanded revenue sharing when profitable. White Heavy checkmark partner with Clark for unified messaging. The narrative shifts from entitled to equitable. The silver lining. The backlash forced crucial conversations. Owners now considering profit sharing after 2026. ESPN fast-tracking 25 more Clark-featured games. Players learning. Advocacy requires audience awareness. The verdict. The protest failed not because the cause was unjust, but because it ignored the golden rule of sports. Fans are stakeholders. When you demand higher pay while they're swallowing 48% ticket losses, you're not fighting the owners. You're alienating the very people who make your salary possible. As one courtside vendor told me, I worked 16 hours that weekend, made $127 after tips, saw those shirts and thought, who owes who exactly? The WNBA's future hinges on balancing fairness with reality, because no TV deal can replace something far more valuable, fan goodwill. So, what's left after this disaster? 3 harsh truths. First, the WNBA's growth is precariously tied to Clark. Lose her and the foundation cracks. Second, Reese's villain persona only works with a hero to battle. Without Clark, it's just noise. And third, fans won't fund grudges. They'll pay for excellence. Clark's return in 2025? It'll shatter records again. But the league must build beyond one star. Because true progress isn't a solo act. It's a team effort. What did you think of Reese's stunt? Was it confidence or cringe? Sound off below. If this exposed the real game behind the drama, give this video a like and subscribe. We're breaking down sports' unfiltered truths every week.